Section 8.3. How to fix a bug once found. In the old way of learning to program, this would be a short section that would tell you to fix the bug yourself. Although that's still an option, we have a lot of choices now with Copilot. These choices include asking Copilot to fix it, giving it a new prompt for the entire function that better describes the problem in a way to avoid the bug, giving Copilot a targeted prompt to fix the spot in the code you found that was wrong, and, if it's a small fix, making it yourself. Let's see how we could do each of these. Section 8.3.1. Asking Copilot to fix your bug via Copilot Chat. In the following example, we'll interact with the Copilot Chat feature. The Copilot Chat feature lets you interact with Copilot as you might with ChatGPT, but is limited to questions pertaining to programming. Feel free to interact with ChatGPT instead, available via OpenAI.com with free tiers at the time of writing. In the same way as we interact with Copilot in this section. We're preferential to Copilot Chat just because its interface is built into the latest version of VS Code and the Copilot extension. In previous chapters, we've mostly just asked Copilot Chat for single answers, whereas in this chapter and later chapters, we'll be using Copilot Chat to have a conversation with the tool. When we're having a conversation with the tool, we'll work to separate out what we write, human, from Copilot's responses, GitHub Copilot. Using the Copilot Chat feature, let's see if Copilot can help us out here. Human. I have a function below that is supposed to count the number of times the word Dan appears in the parameter list words. Instead, it seems to be counting the number of times the characters Dan appear anywhere in the list. Can you help fix this for me?
See this code?
GitHub Copilot. Certainly. To count the number of times the word Dan appears in the list, you can modify the if statement to check if the whole word is equal to Dan. Case insensitive. Here's the modified code.
See this code?
This code will count the number of times the word Dan, case insensitive, appears in the list. The answer back from Copilot Chat changed the line.
See this code?
To.
See this code?
Although the change may look small, it has a big effect. The original line of code searched for the string Dan anywhere in Word, after the word has been made all lowercase letters by the .lower method. The new line of code checks to see whether Word, again, made all lowercase letters by the .lower method, is an exact match for the string Dan. This answer from Copilot is a step closer to a correct solution, as it will only match the whole word, rather than looking for an occurrence of Dan anywhere in the word. However, the call to .lower makes it case insensitive, so it would also match Dan rather than how our solution earlier, listing 8.3, was case sensitive. It had to be exactly Dan. We'd like to be case sensitive, so we could continue with Copilot Chat to have Copilot fix this for us. Human. Can you give me the same code but count only the word Dan, case sensitive? GitHub Copilot. Sure. Here's the modified code that counts only the word Dan, case sensitive.
See this code?
This code will count the number of times the word Dan, case sensitive, appears in the list. In this case, Copilot Chat was able to solve the problem for us when we knew how the code was misfunctioning. We didn't explicitly say what line of code was broken, but if you knew this, you could convey that to Copilot Chat as well. One advantage of knowing which line was broken, like we did here, is that we could look to make sure the fix from Copilot changes the broken line. Let's move on and examine other options for fixing the bug. Section 8.3.2. Giving Copilot a new prompt for the whole function. You've seen us rewrite the prompt for a function a fair number of times already in this book. It simply involves rewriting the function prompt and seeing if Copilot can do better, sometimes using Control-Enter to explore Copilot's solutions. We won't repeat this here because you've already seen it many times before, for example in Chapter 6, Section 6.5.2. Section 8.3.3. Giving Copilot a targeted prompt for part of a function. We used this technique earlier in the chapter in listing 8.3. We've reproduced this as listing 8.5.
Listing 8.5. Using a prompt to fix a known bug. Relisted.
Here we'd figured out that the previous line
See this code?
wasn't doing what we wanted. So we removed the incorrect code and specifically added a prompt to say exactly what we wanted Copilot to do, and it was able to produce the correct code. Section 8.3.4. Modifying the code to fix the bug yourself. This approach to fixing broken code is new to this chapter. You've seen enough code at this point in the book that you can likely fix some code by yourself by directly modifying it. For example, suppose we wrote the following code.
Listing 8.6. Function to count specified numbers in a list.
We've seen functions like this earlier in the book. It iterates through all the numbers in the list of numbers and checks if each number is bigger than or equal to x, and is less than or equal to y. If a number is between x and y, it increases the count. At the end of the function, it returns the count. The code isn't wrong here if the goal is to count numbers in the list that are between x and y, including x and y. However, the term between can be a bit ambiguous. Do you want to include x and y or just the values between them, not including them? Suppose that when you imagined this function, you wanted to not include x and y. For example, if the list were 2, 4, 8, and you provided x and y values of 3 and 8, you would want the count to be 1, including 4, but not 8. You might already see how the function is wrong for this goal and how to fix it. But let's pretend you don't realize yet that the code doesn't match what you want. As with any function that is created either by Copilot or us, we should test the function. Fortunately, when writing the first test case, we included a value in the test case, numbers, that is equal to x, the lower bound, and equal to y, the upper bound.
See this code?
Testing the code at the prompt, we found that our function returns 5 as the answer, but we thought the answer should be 3. By our definition of between, we felt that only the numbers 4, 5, and 6 are between 3 and 7, so the answer should be 3. That is, there are 3 numbers between 3 and 7. Instead, the code gave us the answer of 5. So, we know it isn't working correctly thanks to our test cases. Whether we go on to find the bug by inspecting the code or by using the debugging techniques from this chapter, we realize the statement
See this code?
is the culprit. Here, the complete fix requires us to change the if statement from
See this code?
to.
See this code.
This is a change we could just make directly, without asking for Copilot's help, although Copilot would likely be able to help us here as well. Listing 8.7 has the fixed function after the change.
Listing 8.7. Function to count specified numbers. Corrected.